I'm Dangerous Dean Dolphin,
And I'm Dastardly Dick Dolphin.
and you're listening to Shadow Dolphins in Space. Today we're going to talk about John Wick 4.
Are we?
Yeah, what was the tagline for this movie?
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4. It wasn't like Resurrection or something.
No, I think it was Chapter 4. I watched it, I think.
Was it Parabellum Part 2?
No.
Okay, so John Wick 4. Let's just start off with, did you like the movie?
As a movie? Yeah. As a John Wick movie? No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to get into spoilers yet, but where would you put it? Would you put it last on your ranking?
Of all the John Wick movies? Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement.
You wouldn't?
No, I don't think I would. I honestly, I like all the John Wick movies fairly equally for different reasons. And this movie had a completely different feel than the other. Well, not completely, but a pretty different feel from the other movies. But I kind of liked it for what it was.
That's why I didn't like it. That exact reason.
So one of the things that this movie does is they don't always focus on John Wick. They focus on some new characters. So it seems like there's a lot of back and forth between multiple stories and not just John Wick's story, which I'm assuming is what you don't like, right?
No, I didn't. About the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like a lot of things.
But is that one of the aspects you didn't like?
Actually, I didn't really notice that.
Oh, see, I liked that aspect a lot. That there had multiple characters they focused on instead of just John Wick. Because without spoiling anything, they're definitely trying to build a universe, it seems like.
Well, they have to.
Like an expanded universe.
Everyone is.
Yeah, the John Wick expanded universe. It'll be like the new MCU. But I don't know. I liked the new characters that they introduced. I thought they were pretty cool characters. I think one of the things that this movie doesn't have that the other movies do have is the other movies are really like a nonstop action scene in most regards. It's just like a ton of action and then some drama and then a ton of action. And this one, there was a lot of action, but it seemed like there was a lot more like story and a lot less John Wick murder sprees. But when there was a John Wick murder spree, it was definitely worthwhile.
I felt it was all action and no story.
Really?
Yeah, one action scene right after another action scene. And as soon as that one ended, wouldn't you know it, another action scene. Which is fun to watch. But there was really no movie.
Well, I guess without, do you have any other things you want to say before we get into spoilers?
I don't think so.
Okay, so now we'll get into spoiler territory. What specific things did you dislike about the movie?
A few things. The overuse of the armor jacket.
Oh yeah, he definitely used his bulletproof suit quite a bit.
Pretty much every time. Anytime you've seen him. Or anyone.
Yeah, there's a lot of bulletproof suits in this movie, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think everyone had one. And everyone used one. And then you had the armor suits. The complete armor suits.
I still don't want to spoil the ending, but I liked, but also very disliked the ending.
Oh, I hated it.
Yeah, the very ending. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was, I guess, a fitting ending, but and to be expected. But at the same time, it was also like a disappointing ending, and it felt a little lackluster, especially since all the other ones have left like on a huge cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah. You know what I didn't like about the movie? We never got to see the car.
I agree.
Where's the car at? Where's Aurelio? Or
I thought about that. It's like the whole second movie he goes to get his car, and in this movie he doesn't drive it a single time.
And then they reused some of the songs from the first two movies. which is kind of annoying because
Yeah.
you needed more dubstep or whatever it is.
Was it the same songs or just similar songs?
It could have been similar, but even then, they sounded the same, so it made me think of the scenes from the other two. Oh, we didn't get to see the cop again from the first two movies? Who
What
clearly,
the side character?
yeah, but we could have seen his ending.
Why? He's a side
Yeah,
character.
but Jimmy, he's great. He had a name.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but John Wick wasn't at his house or his home, so why would Jimmy just randomly show up?
Because Jimmy knew.
My guess is that Jimmy was one of them too, like all the homeless people apparently are.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later, some other time. Is that all, what you didn't? Is all the things you disliked about it? I got a lot of things to say about it, but that's not all dislikes. Actually, I don't know if. Well, I'm sure there's a dislike in
Well,
there
go ahead
somewhere.
and throw in your dislikes.
Other than the ending, I mean, the ending was really the biggest letdown. Um, I don't know. I mean, I thought overall it was a pretty entertaining movie. I
Yeah.
liked it. I really like it. I'd really honestly put it on par with the other ones. I know you wouldn't because it feels different than the other ones, but I also kind of like that it felt different than the other ones. And there was a lot of really great things in the movie that it just makes it hard to dislike it, especially compared to this other movies. You know what I mean?
I just didn't like seeing all the rehashed ideas.
Yeah, I guess.
Guy with dog. We've already seen the dog.
Yeah.
Uh, he got hit with a car like 20 more times.
But I like that the characters in this movie all felt like characters. Like they felt like video game characters, which I guess, that's kind of the John Wick universe anyway. But, we get this new character, Kane, who is, you know, I'd say pretty equal to John Wick in terms of skill. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
But he's blind, so arguably he might have been even better than John Wick when he could see. And you get him, and he's like a character in himself because he's goofy and funny, and he's not really a bad guy, but he's stuck in a bad spot. But like his character has a lot of cartoonishness to him. And then you get Nobody, who is a new character, which I know it's a rehash of someone using the dog, but he was like from afar and sniping, and I don't even think he was in. I don't think he was really in the game. I think he was playing from outside the game. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he was under the table, right?
Yeah, but who was he? That's another thing I didn't like.
Well, I think that's what they're doing is they're building up some of these characters to be in spin-off movies as their own characters.
Let's hope so. He is one I'd like to watch more of.
Do you know if the John Wick movies are based off a book series?
No, I don't know.
Because I think the person who made the movie Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, I think that he's the same guy that made John Wick, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I've seen the cover that says that, yeah.
So I wonder if the Nobody in this movie is supposed to be the same character in that movie, like in his own stories, but just like recast as a different person.
That'd be interesting to think about.
Because it's weird that he had named two characters Nobody.
Or maybe it's just a callback to his other character.
I don't know, maybe. But it's a pretty quick comeback or callback. So I also liked that the movie took place in Nagasaki, I believe, most of it, a good chunk of it.
I thought it took place in Osaka.
Anyway, it takes place in Japan. I like that the movie took place in Japan. Well, not all of it, but a good chunk of it, because then it had that real cool like kind of samurai feel. Like there's people that wore robes and they're using katanas and bows, and I don't know. It just kind of seemed real cool. Or it reminded me a lot of anime.
It was pretty cool. Watching Hanzo pull out a sword again.
Watching a guy get bashed up against a drum like 40 times before he gets killed. That was pretty funny. The armored guy.
Oh, yeah. And then shot 3 more times for good measure.
Yeah. And I honestly liked that they show like the people working for the high table, like the security basically for the high table, like they're enforcement officers, and they all had like suits on and were these big beefy dudes that looked like tanks. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool. They showed like another part of that world. What did you think of the villain in this movie, played by Bill Skarsgård?
Mars Keys.
Yeah, him.
He was interesting. He could have been more. He could have been cooler.
He could have been cooler, but he was a straight up asshole for
Yeah,
sure.
but he should have been more evil.
He was pretty evil. I don't know. He was pretty evil.
And then the end. Yeah, the whole ending was just weird to me.
I would say he was the most evil character we've seen so far. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I think that's Winston.
Winston is the
Yeah.
most evil character we've seen so far.
Look how manipulative he's been.
I don't think that Winston's evil.
And
He's
through
a good guy.
and through all 4 movies, Marquise didn't even last 2 hours.
Yeah, because he was a real stone cold dick.
Nah. Winston's playing the long con, brah.
I also like that Clancy Brown had a small role in this movie, because it's always great seeing him in something. But at the same time, I kind of wish he was in it more. I mean, he was in it an okay amount, but
I don't even know who that is.
Clancy Brown is the guy that was the highest up character we've seen under the high table, that had the hat on and the coat and the white beard and the scar over his eye. He was like the judge at the end.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, and that actor's been in a million things and done a million. Haven't you seen Children of the Corn? No, not Children of the Corn. Haven't you seen Pet Sematary 2? I thought that was your favorite movie.
I think no, I don't remember, man.
If I remember right, he's the guy that comes back in that movie, and he was also in Highlander.
I haven't seen
He
that
does Mr.
either.
Krabs' voice.
Okay, I do know who Mr. Krabs is.
I hope you know who Mr. Krabs is. What did you think of the fate of Sharon? Is that what his name is? Lance Reddick's character.
Oh, just getting shot like that?
Yeah. What do you think of his fate?
I don't know. It seemed kind of forced.
I agree. It was unexpected. It kind of helped drive Winston and show off that the villain was truly an evil, horrible person. But at the same time, it kind of sucks that they did that, especially since he passed away in real life recently.
That's the only reason I can think of it, is to show him that he was just a dick.
Yeah. But you would think he would have went in there wearing a bulletproof vest.
I thought he had one on. I was wrong.
You should have thought ahead. John Wick's dog also isn't in this movie much. You remember that?
Yeah, he's only at the end, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another thing I dislike.
No, he was in it earlier too, because I remember seeing him and thinking during the movie, who the hell had the dog? And it was the Bowery King.
They just pretty much got rid of everything that we knew and made a whole new John Wick movie.
But at the same time, I kind of like it, because it's like, I don't know. It felt like a John Wick movie, but it didn't feel like a John Wick movie. I don't know. His life has changed so much. He was ending his killing spree. He was trying to get back out.
How'd you like all the headshots? Everyone got a headshot. Even if they were already dead, they got a headshot.
Everyone always gets a headshot in a John Wick movie.
No, not like this. He literally shot everyone in the head.
He didn't shoot Killa in the head. That's the guy's name?
Probably. That sounds about right.
For real? So anyway, yeah, he was the German guy. He didn't shoot him in the head.
Well, he didn't have to.
Well, yeah, but he didn't.
And
he killed him.
That guy shot himself in the head with his own weight.
Yeah, that's true. So I'd have to say that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, though, where it's Killa, and he's in the room with John Wick and Kane and Nobody, and they're all sitting at the poker table playing one hand of poker, and whoever wins gets to choose who dies. I thought that was a pretty awesome scene, and it looked really cartoonish and comical, and I loved it.
I did like that scene, and I love that. That was probably my favorite joke in the whole movie too, is when he flips the 5 2s and the blind guy goes 5 of a kind,
Classic him.
and they just go, "Yep,
Did you have any favorite kills in the movie?
yeah," but only because I like Cars and the drifting part of Cars. So the whole scene where he's drifting around all those guys in the circle, just shooting at them.
I did like that part
Pretty
a
much
lot.
all those, just because it added all my favorite things: an action scene, a car, and drifting.
So yeah, I forgot about that scene. That was one of my favorites too. Just the whole going around in a circle thing, I don't know, I thought it was a good idea for like the whole setup, like a car going in a gigantic, what are those things called, roundabout type of deal, and just like a bunch of traffic and him fighting in traffic. Like that was a new element we've not seen so far. But at the same time, it reminded me so much of a video game, and it was kind of stressful. Like he'd kill one group of people, and then like walk like 2 feet, and then a car would pull up real quick, and like five dudes would all step out at the same time and start shooting at him, and it just felt like, a video game where it's like endless. And I thought that scene was a little long,
Yeah.
but it did have some great action in it.
There was a few scenes I thought were a little long, but also it was John Wick, so
Yeah, it is what it is. I think my other favorite scene of the movie is the scene where he was in the building and it had the overhead camera filming him, and it was like one continuous take.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was really well done. I wonder how many times they had to do that.
Probably more than one.
I would say so. And do you think Keanu actually did it, or do you think a stuntman did?
I'd like to think Keanu did it.
I mean, I would too. I wonder how much of his own stunts he does.
Again, I'd like to think he does them all, but we know that's not true.
Yeah, that's true. We can't be that lucky.
Although the scene was cool. A lot of room for error.
Oh, yeah, and it's a perfect execution. I just think of, like, watching one of those shows or something where they're talking about, we only have one shot at this scene, and it cost $18 million to film, so we got to get it right. You know what I mean? I was like, I wonder if this was one of those scenes.
It seemed like it. A lot of windows being busted out, a lot of people having to jump through things.
Yeah, explosions, all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, one wrong move, and it could have ruined that entire scene. That's a lot of choreography.
Yeah, it was. What'd you think of the dragon's breath shells? The shotgun shells that were lighting them on fire?
That was pretty cool, but I also felt like that should have been slightly more powerful. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Like, it should have blown a hole in them. I guess, what was it? Just supposed to light people on fire?
I think it just shoots flame.
Oh, I thought it was like a shotgun. I was like, damn, shouldn't it be blowing a hole in them and catching them on fire?
No, I don't think it can do both.
Oh. Well, we can't get everything, I guess.
Was there even a shotgun in the movie? Like, wasn't there a scene with a shotgun? Or I've watched too many movies lately.
I'd like to think there was.
Did he walk up to someone with I don't think I'm talking about the same movie.
And he said he walked up with someone with a shotgun.
He
said, "Are you feeling lucky, punk?"
No, but you know what I'm thinking of?
What?
Scream 6. The gas
Scream
station
6.
scene.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
We should release a video on that one next.
We probably will.
Oh, do we need to talk about the ending for real?
Yeah, we're at the end of this. We might as well talk about the end of that.
Well, I mean, I guess we can talk about the ending. If you really want to talk about the ending, we can talk about the ending.
Yeah. First and only question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the ending?
I already said what I thought of the ending. I liked it because it seems like the logical way for the series to end. And it seems like, I don't know, a fair fate. But at the same time, I hate it because they're like, all right, this is it. And if it's not it, then I'm going to feel like, damn, he couldn't even have a happy ending.
That's why it's going to be John Wick 5, Resurrection.
So you're going to make me say it on the microphone. You're going to make me anger anyone listening at home that didn't heed warning to our spoiler disclaimer a little while ago.
Yeah, pretty much. Once you say it, the floodgates can open.
In this movie, at the end, John Wick dies.
Does he?
Yeah, or does he? He might not die. So, they show him getting shot, and they show him like acting like he's dead, and they show a grave, which, side note here, why the hell didn't his grave or his wife's grave have years on them? That bothered me. They didn't have a year on them. I've never seen a tombstone without a year on it. But anyway, okay, we'll go back. So, John Wick presumably dies, and they show Winston and who else? Kane, maybe?
Yeah, I think it is him.
They show Winston and another character, which was probably Kane, if I remember correctly. No, it wasn't. It was the Bowery King.
Oh, it was the Bowery King.
They show Winston and the Bowery King at his grave, and they're talking about him like he's actually dead. And then they both leave, and then they don't show any more like anything else. And my assumption is that he survived, but because he is now out of the game again, they made a fake tombstone so that everyone would think he was dead, which would be a happy ending for John Wick. Now here is the dilemma. If they show that he survived in another movie, like either John Wick 4 or no, either John Wick 5 or a spin-off series or something like that, then they'll have to bring him back into the game, which means he won't have the happy ending. If we don't see him alive in one of those movies, then we'll have to assume that he actually did die, which doesn't give us the happy ending we want. So either way, it's shitty. They should have showed that he was still alive at the end.
Yeah. Didn't I think they did, or they tried to. I think
They did?
I think Winston said something that made me think that he's still alive.
Like,
I just can't remember what it was.
he's
And
at
then he
peace now.
And then he touched the gravestone, all menacingly.
I think he said something like, God damn that ass, and touched the gravestone and then walked away, which I thought was a little inappropriate and weird, but that's Winston.
No, I thought he said that's America's ass, and then Chris Evans came in and said, "Whoa."
Old Captain America came in, and he said, no, I don't think it is.
No. This is a Marvel movie now?
Well, it might as well be, because they're building it up to be one, I think.
John Wick 4, Marvel.
John Wick versus Punisher
John Wick versus Capcom versus Marvel
versus SNK.
versus Sega.
Brothers Melee. Do I have anything else we need to say about John Wick 4?
I don't know. Remember when he threw that guy off the stairwell?
Yeah. I do remember that part.
Good times.
I liked how Kane's character interacted, being blind with tapping things with his cane. But also, I really loved that scene where they're in the kitchen, and he puts the little doorbell things across so that they go off, and he can hear where his enemies are at. And I thought it was a nice touch that during those scenes, they're all people that he didn't want to kill, so he didn't kill them, even though he easily could have. And they even showed at one point that, hey, I could easily kill you, but I'm choosing not to. When he held up the gun to the one guy, and then he ended up knocking him out instead of shooting him. So it kind of gives his character credibility.
I don't remember any of that.
You don't remember that? That was a good scene.
I don't think so.
Actually, I think that was one of my favorite scenes as well. Him fighting all those people. It was at the hotel in Japan.
Oh.
When he got there and he was coming in looking for John Wick, and he was just taking out all the hotel staff. But since he was friends with the hotel owner and didn't want to be there because he was stuck in that situation,
Oh, okay.
he was just knocking them out.
I know what you're talking about now.
Although he just still didn't have to kill that hotel owner guy. He could have just kept walking away.
That was Scorpion.
Yeah. I thought he looked familiar.
He's not very good with a blade. He dies in that movie and he dies in this movie.
I guess so. I was hoping he wouldn't die in this movie because he seemed like a cool character. But I figured he would as soon as they started establishing he was a good character in front of John Wick. And especially when his daughter's like, we're having dinner tonight at 8. I'm like, damn, he's going to be dead before 8?
First off, it was in the morning by 8, but yes, he was going to be dead by then.
Oh, whatever. You know what I mean? I thought she said that he had dinner scheduled with her at 8.
Breakfast.
Oh, okay. Well, he was still dead before the thing. It was foreshadowing.
I think he could have made dinner.
He could have. He could have made I don't know. What would he have made for dinner, you think? Some chicken?
No, he would have threw a fish in the air and then chopped it into sushi before it hit the ground.
No, he would have thrown the fish in the air and it would have hit him in the face and killed him because he wasn't good with a sword, apparently.
Yeah, but he's going to come back now, Scorpion, and take out everybody, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. And actually, he was pretty good with the sword. He was just fighting a pro.
John Wick 5, Scorpion's Revenge.
Year of the Scorpion.
No, that's next year.
Parascorpion.
That's too close to home. The Scorpions. Rock Me Like a Hurricane.
I like how in the credits there was 2 songs that said John Wick remix. So I thought it was kind of cool that John Wick remixed 2 songs for the movie before he died.
And in between killing all those people.
Yeah,
Where do you find the time?
dude, he can do it all. He can do everything.
Oh, so he didn't kill anyone with a pencil. Pretty upset about that.
Yeah, it was really weird that Kane stabbed that guy with a pencil. He grabbed the pencil and stabbed him, which I guess was a throwback to John Wick doing it. But I thought that what he was going to do is like toss John the pencil and have him stab someone, which I thought would have been amazing. And they didn't do that. I felt like it was like a useless callback. They didn't even like kill anyone. He didn't even kill anyone with the pencil, I think.
Yeah, I know. I was really hoping he'd give it to... Just throw it to John Wick or something.
Yeah, it was kind of
And he was
really
gonna
useless.
and he was gonna kill 4 people with it in the 4th movie to break the record of 3 people.
That would have been nice. Although that whole scene on the stairs was pretty intense, but also by that point in the movie, I'm like, oh my god, just let him get there. You know, it was frustrating. I'm like, jeez, this uphill fight is so bad. Literally.
They definitely could have shaved some time off of that part and a few other parts.
I love how it goes to the stairs and like all these thugs wearing like little newsboy hats pop out. Just like a whole staircase full. I'm like, where are all these people coming from? All these thugs. Before everyone was afraid to deal with John Wick, and now all of a sudden, like every little tiny podunk robber on the street is trying to take out John Wick for no reason.
No reason. He's worth $40 million.
Yeah, he's worth $40 million, but they know they're gonna die. If someone said John Wick's worth $40 million, you should try to take him out, I'd be like, hell no. I've seen he's killed like 4,000 people, and that was just this week. I'm not gonna try to take him out. It's not worth $40 million.
Yeah, but he did die. Someone did get him.
Yeah, but not for $40 million. He didn't even get the reward.
He got his freedom, and that's more important.
Did he? Because at the end, it seems like post-credit scene. If anyone didn't stay around for the post-credits, you missed a scene. So, sorry about you.
Yep, an ice cream cone fell into a taco, and then someone ate an ice cream taco.
I did love that ending scene though. At the not the post-credit scene, but the ending, the duel scene.
Oh.
How he's like how Winston's like, dude, you're so stupid. Bam. I was so glad to see that guy die.
Did you think he was not going to die?
I knew he was going to, but I was just ready for it. My God, just kill him already.
Yeah. He was getting annoying towards the end.
Yeah, annoyingly evil.
No, kind of like a little bitch. He should have fought John Wick himself.
He should have. Yeah, he didn't even fight John Wick. John Wick just took him straight out.
In fact, he gave him to a blind man.
One of the other things I thought was really interesting was that they did the thing with the radio DJ, and she was all like, oh, our man in black is heading blah blah blah, boys. You better go get him. It's like they never really established any of that stuff in any of the other movies.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of a cool idea, but at the same time, it's like anyone listening to the radio at home is like, I don't know what they're talking about, but it sounds like code word for killing somebody. It wasn't very inconspicuous.
Yeah, I felt like they added a bunch of new stuff to this one, and that was one of them.
Yeah,
like they were just cramming a few new ideas in there.
They did. They're like, let's just throw some new stuff in there. I mean, it was kind of cool, but at the same time, it was kind of like, this is a little unnecessary.
Yeah.
And they played Paint It Black in the movie, and like, I don't think Paint It Black is a bad song, but it's one of the songs that irritates me because Pandora Radio used to play it like every other song, and I just got burnt out on it quick. And I still am to this day.
Yeah, I hated that scene. As soon as it started, I looked over at you.
Why, because you knew that?
No, because I knew, or I didn't like it because it's been overplayed. I'm like, oh God, why is this song?
I hate when that happens, when a good song gets overplayed to the point where it becomes a bad song.
And they weren't even painting him black, they were painting him red.
Yeah, he was already black. He was the man in black.
Yeah. Jesus. Keanu Men in Black Reeves.
This movie's messing everything up.
Yeah. Luckily, it's the last one. John Wick's dead. Or so they say.
Until he comes back.
In John Wick 5. The John Wickening.